Hey folks, welcome back to another video. So, you're thinking of getting the Oculus Quest 2 and you're wondering, is it actually worth it? And if so, which version should you get? Well, have no fear, WaqMan is here. Today, we are going to go through my review of the Oculus Quest 2. I know I might be the last person to do this review, but I wanted to give it a bit more time as I knew Oculus were making it even better. And I'm glad I waited, because there are a lot of things to talk about. So, if you enjoy the video and find it helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as it lets me know to make more of this type of content. Talking about being worth it, remember my Quest 2 giveaway is still on for one of my subscribers, if we reach our goal by Christmas. We also have a giveaway for Arizona Sunshine on Steam and Richie's Plank Experience on Oculus. Full details are in the description below. Well, let's get straight into the video. Now, I'm going to try and make this a no-nonsense review, and focus on things that actually matter to someone buying a VR headset. And the format will be from the perspective of someone thinking to buy it right now. But in case you have the attention span of a goldfish, I'll tell you the mini conclusion is that the Quest 2 is fantastic and you should get it. But there are still some caveats. If you want to know more, then keep watching. Alright, so first let's start off with what the Quest 2 actually is. This is for anyone new to VR. The Quest 2 is a standalone device, which means you don't need anything extra other than what it comes with. You will be able to buy all of the games from the Oculus Store within the headset itself, and it will download directly onto the headset. Although that being said, you will still need two things, a mobile phone and a Facebook account. The mobile phone is only for the Oculus app to be installed and for the setup process, and that's it. You don't need to use it after that. Secondly, unfortunately, Facebook are acting a little like corporate dictators and forcing people to connect their Facebook accounts to their Oculus account. Now, normally I wouldn't really care, but I don't like being forced to do anything. However, if you want to use the device, you will have to. So that is up to you to decide whether you will or not. Okay, so moving on to the headset itself. First, let's talk about the price and two different versions that the Quest 2 comes in. There is a cheaper 64GB version priced at $299, and then a more expensive 256GB version priced at $399, or $100 more. Your first thought will be, well, what's the difference and which should you get? Firstly, there is no difference between the headsets other than the storage. Next, do you really need the 256GB version? Well, you don't need it. However, I highly recommend you go for that one if you want any sort of future proofing. The reason is the graphics have improved in the Quest 2, meaning the developers will have more room to add more assets, which means the file size of the games will be bigger. Plus, it also gives you room to add movies and TV shows on the headset. After a few months, you will really start to feel the low capacity, unless you are a very casual player and just play a game or two every couple of months. If so, then get the 64GB version. For everyone else, my recommendation is definitely the 256GB version, unless you're using it mainly for PC VR, but we will come back to this. Next, let's talk about the comfort of the headset with its original strap. Here, I would say I may not have been 100% accurate before, as the headset, even with its original strap, is actually quite comfortable, barring the fact that the strap kind of presses on your ear. The advantage with the original strap is that it makes the whole headset feel really light. The disadvantage is that after an hour and a half, it does start to feel uncomfortable. But honestly, if you're on a budget, then forget about getting anything extra, as you'll be very happy even with the strap. Now, everyone's head is different and comfort is subjective, so you may have a different experience, but honestly, it's surprisingly comfortable. But if you find it uncomfortable, I will be doing a full comparison between the Elite head strap and the Deluxe Audio head strap. But as a spoiler, I would say go for the Deluxe Audio strap, though it is a little bit more difficult to put on initially, but totally worth it at the end. Next thing is the screen and resolution. For this, I'm going to tell you I hated the resolution of the original Quest and actually had to send it back, because coming from PC VR, I just couldn't take that significant of a downgrade. However, on the Quest 2, I'm happy to say that although obviously it's not as good as PC VR, it's not so significant where you can feel it. Honestly, here everything looks fantastic and you really feel immersed. I'm actually really surprised how significant the improvement is. Anyone coming into VR for the first time or even from other headsets will be very happy with the resolution of the Quest 2. The screen has changed though from an OLED to an LCD display, so the blacks aren't as black anymore, but to me at least I don't really notice it, and all the other colors look great. But this is just a small niggle anyway. The average person won't even notice any of this. Next, the controllers. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the controller design, they are way too big. You don't realize how big until you pick up the Quest or Rift S controllers and you're like, wow, these are a lot more comfortable. That being said, the Quest 2 controllers feel more powerful than their predecessors. But my absolute favorite thing about the controllers is the battery life. I can't believe how long they last. It's actually incredible. I don't know what Oculus did, but wow. I've spent hours upon hours on the Quest 2 and my batteries are still going strong. Now let's move on to one of the most fundamental parts of VR, the tracking. Honestly speaking, the tracking is extremely good. Obviously, it cannot match the base station tracking, but it's not far off. Plus, it has advantages over the base station tracking, namely when you're in a sim rig or playing in your chair, where the base stations might not be able to see you. Not only that, in the software side, Oculus have made the Quest 2 very clever to determine where the controllers will be even when the cameras lose sight of it. Talking about the cameras, they are positioned perfectly. Now, I didn't appreciate how great the tracking was on the Quest 2 until I tried the HP Reverb G2. But it is a night and day difference. And the lighting generally doesn't matter since it is infrared light that they are using. Now, you may still lose tracking here and there, but it's very manageable. Now, that nicely moves us on to hand tracking, the most revolutionary thing I've seen in VR so far. If you don't know, this is where your actual hands are used as controllers in VR. This gives you an incredible feeling. It's crazy. Plus, it's actually implemented very well. However, that being said, it is much easier to use controllers than your hands still, but not as fun or cool. I've done a list of best hand tracking games, although since then, Vacation Simulator has also been implemented with hand tracking, which makes the game so much more fun. You have to try it. Even applications like Virtual Desktop have also implemented hand tracking, which makes it quite convenient. That nicely transitions to another feature Oculus has implemented, which is playing PC VR games on the Quest 2. First, let me mention, you obviously need a VR ready PC to be able to do this. So Oculus originally introduced the link cable on the Quest, and it has made it even better on the Quest 2. Although there are two ways of getting to play PC VR games on the Quest 2. First is with the official wired link connection, and the second is a wireless option. Let's first talk about the link. So you need to connect the USB-C cable to your Quest 2 and connect it to your PC. That will effectively transform it into a Rift S. There is a cable that Oculus have developed called the official link cable, which is quite pricey, around $80. But since it is a fiber optic cable, it is much faster at transferring data, making the visuals even better. However, you can still use an unofficial USB-C to USB 3.0 cable to get generally the same effect. Although there is a slight noticeable difference, but that is due to the active copper cable instead of the fiber optic. Although it's still good enough to play the games. So you may be asking, is this better than the Rift S? Well, I have both. And one awesome thing that Oculus have done for the Quest 2 is make it playable in 90Hz refresh rate. Instead of the 80Hz the Rift S is locked to. But I've recently tried it again. And honestly, I still prefer the Rift S as a PC VR headset. It just looks nicer and feels more comfortable. It's not that much nicer, but I can feel it. And I would always be drawn to the Rift S over the Quest 2 for PC VR gaming. This may have to do with the Rift S using a display port, whereas the Quest 2 uses USB-C cable. However, one thing that the Rift S cannot do is play PC VR games wirelessly. There are two ways of doing this. The first is to use an application called Virtual Desktop, which costs around $20. And the second is a free option called ALVR. I've done a video on how to play PC VR games using Virtual Desktop, but it is pretty simple. However, everyone will have different results based on your router. I'll tell you my secret. I'm using a mesh system which basically extends my internet range all over my house on the same network, which means I can play PC VR games wirelessly in my living room or my bedroom, which I have. I have linked the mesh system I use in the description if you want to check it out. Although one thing that I have noticed is that you can feel that it is not as good to look at than when connecting the cable directly, which is understandable. But the fact that it's completely wireless is a massive thing. Okay, so if you're new to VR, you may be wondering if there are any good games in VR. Well, I'm going to break it down in two parts. Firstly, if you don't have a VR ready PC, then you may be wondering, are there games on the Quest 2 to keep you going? Then after that, I'll talk about the PC VR games. Okay, for the Quest 2. To be honest, you're in a much better position than the people were when the original Quest came out. There are actually a lot of good games now on the Quest platform, and for many different genres. I'll name some of the top ones just to give you an idea. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, Lies Beneath, Phantom Covert Ops, Beat Saber, Pistol Whip, Contractors VR, Onward, Five Nights at Freddy's, and many more. I'm going to do a top Quest 2 games list, so just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. So there are quite a lot of games to keep you going. Also, there are even more games on the PC VR platform, so you shouldn't run out of games to play anytime soon. The PC VR games notably are Half-Life Alyx, Asgard's Wrath, Stormland, Blade and Sorcery, Boneworks, Population 1, and many more. Plus, some games are even cross-buy, where you only need to buy them once and they will work both on the Quest and the Oculus PC VR platform. One final really cool thing in my opinion that I want to throw in there is the pass-through feature and the quality of it. This time the cameras seem to be of very high quality and you can actually make out almost everything when in pass-through mode. I can easily travel throughout my house with the headset on, which is amazing. And the fact that there is a feature where you can just double tap the side of the headset to turn this on makes it even cooler. So I've given you mainly positives. Are there any cons to the Quest 2? Well, the first con is the forced Facebook login, but that's subjective and will depend on you. However, the next con are the speakers. They're actually quite disappointing, but perfectly usable. They prevent you from getting fully immersed, but are enough for you to continue playing. This is the main reason why I suggested getting the deluxe audio strap earlier on, as it has fantastic on-ear headphones, actually making you feel like you're there. The only advantage to less immersion is in those horror games, where you would want to feel like you're not really there, to avoid getting a heart attack. The next thing is you can't record your voice at the same time when recording on the Quest 2. I believe this was the same on the original Quest, however it doesn't make sense why, considering the Rift S can, when it has the exact same speaker system. As a content creator, I find that quite irritating. Now the next can be taken as a con, but I'm grateful to even have one, and that is the IPD adjuster. Obviously they couldn't do it the same way that they had it on the original Quest, since this time it is just one LCD screen rather than two OLEDs. However, it's difficult to adjust it unless you take off the headset. And the final con is the battery life of the headset itself. It's relatively short, coming in around 1.5 hours to 2 hours, depending on what you're doing. Obviously, gaming will drain the battery faster, as well as using a higher refresh rate than just watching a movie in the headset. So, overall, what am I saying about this headset, and who should get it? Honestly, the only people I would say that there are better options for are people that only want to do PC VR, as even the Rift S is still, in my opinion, noticeably better and more comfortable. Plus, I believe the price has been lowered to match the Quest 2 price now, at $300. However, the Quest 2 can do everything, and you don't need anything for it. You can take it with you on holiday, to your friends or family. You can even play it on the plane. It's a lot more social and accessible than anything else in the VR industry has to offer, with very minimal setup time, other than the stupid Facebook login. So I highly recommend this headset. From the software to the hardware, everything just works. But like I said, for only PC VR, there are still better alternatives. Well, that's all folks. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Remember to enter my Quest 2 giveaway by being a subscriber, liking the video and following the instructions below. Well, thanks for watching, have a great day, stay safe and see you next time.